All right, welcome to the Sharp Mind Show, episode 80. I'm Nate, the Fit Future MD, your host. Be sure to check out Cyber Monday on InstaCell.com, an extra 20% off for Cyber Monday. Your last chance for big savings for the year. Um, like I say, with tariffs and all that kind of stuff coming in, we don't know what the prices are going to be next year. So, we're hoping that, you get in on some of these deals, right? So go to InstaSell.com, pick you out a cool inspirational t-shirt today, and and then be on the lookout for the winter hoodies and all that kind of stuff coming up. Uh Obviously there's hoodies up there already, so make sure you check those out. The cold season's coming up. Kind of saw that over Thanksgiving break here when it dropped down into the 30s here in North Carolina. So the cold is coming, so make sure you pick up, stuff for the cold, right? So go to InstaSell.com right now and check out the Cyber Monday deals. All right. So first things first, I got to talk about my beloved Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers defeat. Carolina Panthers defeat the Los Angeles Rams. Right. So Los Angeles Rams fall to 9-3, and the Carolina Panthers go to 7-6. All right. So Bryce Young did what he had to do. Right. I say we actually followed the game script this time, right? So Chuba Hubbard had 17 carries, Rico Dowdle had 18 carries, Bryce Young with 5 carries. That's 40 carries, right? 40. And then we only threw the ball 20 times, right? So that followed, that followed the scenario, right? Like that followed um what what the game plan should be for the Carolina Panthers. You got a two-headed monster in Hubbard and Dowell, right? You got, you paid for a big offensive line. You got a big offensive line, and they can run block, right? And they can run block against anybody in the league, obviously here. So 164 yards on the ground. Um, Obviously, Los Angeles should have ran more. They only ran 21 times. And they got 152 yards on the ground. They should have probably ran 35 times on Carolina, and they probably would have beat Carolina, right? Um, but not the, obviously they got Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford threw 2 picks. The difference in the game are those interceptions, right? Or those turnovers. Carolina didn't turn the ball over, and the Rams did, right? And so you got Jackson returning a interception to the house. And so that gave us, a lead that time, and we, pretty much, gave us the gave the Carolina Panthers the momentum of the game, right? So keep that in mind. Like I say, Devontae Adams on the other side with 2 touchdowns. Uh, Nakua 72 yards. Um, like I say, so they were eating us up in the air too. But with the turnovers were the difference in the game, in my opinion. So also, it was very clear, that they were there to stop the run. We run the ball 40 times, right? So, you caught them in man coverage, and you were able to throw to McMillan over the top. Uh, McMillan's only catch was for 43 yards and a touchdown, which was nuts to think about, right? Like, he's basically, if you look at this, Leggett with 1 catch for 1 yard, like, I mean, just offensively, just nothing, right? Coker is the only one doing anything really offensively as far as passing. Defense came up big, but they gave up 28 points, right? They gave up 28 points, and most weeks that would be enough. But with the turnovers, we were able to pop over that 28 points, right? So let me know what you think about the Carolina Panthers now sitting in second place in the division at 7-6. The Buccaneers are sitting at 7-5. So obviously they're going to have to play. Our bye week is in week 14, right? So that's coming up. But you gotta let me know what you think about the Carolina Panthers. Can the Carolina Panthers make the playoffs this year? Right, this year with this team, um, second year with a new coach, can we make the playoffs? 7-6. Like I say, I didn't count this as a dub. I thought we were going to be 6-7. To be honest, not to be negative about my team, but you go look at the schedule, and the schedule looked pretty rough, right? The schedules had 49ers, Rams back to back, so both you know Western Conference, big time Western Conference guys, and big time out west teams, right? So we lost to the Niners, and then we beat the Rams. Makes no sense. So we lost to the Saints before, right? So 17-7. So hopefully we can do better against the Saints. And you got the Buccaneers twice and the Seahawks, which has got the craziest defense on the planet, right? So you got 3 out of the last 4 against basically playoff contention teams, right? So can you win that and get to 10-7, 10-6? You got to get 3 wins there. So can you get 3 wins there? And you're at 3. You could get the 3 wins versus the divisional opponents, lose to the Seahawks. You're in the playoffs. But that's definitely a tall order. Or we come up short this season? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. This episode is brought to you by Dylan and Davina, The Adventure Begins, which is my wife's children's book. If you haven't yet bought your copy of Dylan and Davina, The Adventure Begins, make sure you do before they sell out, right? Before they sell out. It's best-selling author, Meredith Dillon Johnson, on Amazon. So check that out. Dylan and Davina, The Adventure Begins. If you got nieces, nephews, or children of your own, we really appreciate your support. I know my wife really appreciates your support. Took her 3 months to write this book and get this book published. So keep that in mind. So really, really appreciate your support. All right. So on to the next. Will there be a Santa rally this year? Right. So basically, there's been some big time gainers this year, right? So there's a rule out there when you hold stocks that you shouldn't have more than 5% of your portfolio in certain stocks, right? So if you go to the end of the year and you have one stock, such as, so say Palantir, right? We'll go with Palantir. Let's see, PLTR, Palantir. And Palantir, let's see, is year to date up 122%, right? So basically you purchased Palantir back in February for $68. It's sitting at $168, right? So if you had purchased it at 5% of your portfolio, obviously that's going to be bigger than 5%, right? So Palantir basically, got up to a high of roughly 207, and basically people rebalance their portfolio, right? They're going to say, okay, well, I got this, and I need to take this money and reinvest it somewhere else. And so that's basically what kind of happened in November, right? Luckily for me, when there's sell-offs, I do better in my trading, and when things are good, I don't do as good. So, keep that in mind. But basically, you saw that happen in November. So basically, the idea is that there'll be a Santa rally because people are going to reallocate that money somewhere else, so that so if their Palantir got up to 8% or 9%, they're going to sell off 3% of the Palantir and rally up somewhere else with the 3%, because the money's going to stay in the market, but they're just going to rebalance, right? Especially ETFs, stuff like that. You don't want to be too heavy on one stock in an ETF, because then basically you lose the diversity that the ETF offers, right? So Will there be a Santa rally this year? Absolutely, there's going to be a Santa rally this year. In my opinion, I say if you look at the S&P 500 chart, it definitely showed that, we dipped down and bounced off the 200-day moving average. And so to me, that means we're at 6,800 right now. Max all time was 68, 69 something. Yes, so 69.25. I think we break that and go to about 7,000, probably before the end of the year. And that will be our Santa rally, right? So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think the markets will continue to run as the government continues to print money, as investments back into the U.S. continue to happen based on, tariffs and things like that? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. All right. So now we got James. And James says, I know what to do. I just can't stay consistent. And this is life coaching, by the way. It says, I watch routines, productivity hacks, discipline videos, and then I fall right off again. All right. So basically, this is about habit formation, right? So to create a habit, you got to do something for 68 straight days, right? So the reason that I went 70 plus straight days doing these videos is because I was making them my habit, right? So it's very easy to say, okay, it's the weekend, I'm not going to do anything. But I literally woke up at 3:50 in the morning on Saturday and Sunday for 2 months straight, right? So that I could make these videos, so these videos would become my habit, right? To wake up and talk about what's going on in the world, to talk about finances, so that, to talk about the sports that I love, so that I could have this podcast, right? So that this podcast would continue to live on. And so that was part of the habit formation, 68 straight days, right, of me doing this podcast. And trust me, it sucked. It sucked to wake up that many days straight, because, I can wake up Monday through Friday, no problem. I usually try to get the extra REM sleep on Saturday and Sunday. But for those 68 straight days, we didn't do that, right? So that made that very, very tough to get that habit, right? But any habit you're trying to form, you got to do it 68 days straight. So even when I was, coaching on health, coaching on lifting weights and stuff like that, I basically got my client to go 68 straight days to the gym, right? So 7-day splits. You go in and do something at the gym because you have to make it a habit. 68, it takes 68 straight days to make something a habit. So if you do it for 2 weeks and all of a sudden you stop it for a day, you do it for 2 weeks and you stop it for a day, guess what? You're going to lose the habit, right? Because you didn't do it 68 straight days, right? So you got to break that self-sabotaging behavior by doing something for 68 straight days, right? So if you go on a diet and you go on a diet for 30 days and then you give yourself a cheat day, guess what? You're not going to continue down that diet. You're not going to keep it going, right? So you're going to be like, oh my God, I love cake. And the rest of the week, you're going to be thinking about cake. And all of a sudden, you're eating cake again, right? But you have to build the habits. You have to have accountability to yourself, accountability to somebody, especially if you know what to do, right? You know how your body reacts to certain foods. You know how your body reacts to working out. So you have to figure out a way to make it where you build that habit and you don't fall off, right? Like I say, the routines, the discipline, so make the habits, right? So it's mindset, skill set, habits, right? So start with the mindset, read 10 minutes a day for your skill set, and then, you analyze your habits and see how you can make yourself more successful, right? So this is what I would do if I couldn't stay consistent with something. So whatever I'm trying to do, I'm doing that thing for 68 straight days. And that is my advice there as a life coach. If you need help setting something up for 68 straight days, hit me up for life coaching, and we will get your life completely turned around, right? That's also 20% off for Cyber Monday, right? So take 20% off of life coaching for a year, right? So keep that in mind, 20% off. All right. And then last thing of the day, which is the quote of the day, and it says, you don't have to live it to learn it. So I got this from Landman last night. New episode of Landman. If you hadn't checked out that show, be sure to check out that show. Pretty good show. They got them getting ate up with sulfuric acid, sulfuric hydrogen sulfide, basically, yesterday. So that was right up my alley, being a chemist here and working in wastewater. You see that eats pipes away and stuff like that in wastewater. But that's the reason you wear gas monitors into confined spaces, right? Is because hydrogen sulfide could come in there and kill you, right? So, and people think like, oh, you've been down in this hole 10 million times and all of a sudden you're getting that hydrogen sulfide and you're dying, right? And you die, right? So literally they had the people rolling up to the area hunting pigs, and then the pigs, the animals, and the people all die of this gas, right? Um, so you don't have to live that to learn that lesson, right? That's basically the point of this discussion here. Learn from other people, learn from other people's mistakes, right? So you go read about what Warren Buffett did, you go read about what Elon Musk did, right? If you want to be, a billionaire, that's what you do, right? You don't live like them, and then so you read about what millionaires did, right? So there's a lot of people that made it to be a millionaire. They were a quick millionaire and then they lost it all, right? So we don't want to be the ones that lost it all. So if you're, that NBA player, you're that NFL player that just got their first contract, let's set you up where you're not the person that gets the millions and loses it all, right? Let's set you up where you're the one that gets the millions and the millions become a billion, right? So let's keep that in mind. Like I say, I watch a few people and, they sell a company and then all of a sudden they're going crazy. They're buying private jets. They're, doing all this crazy mess, and they're going to end up back at zero and having to start a new company, right? Which is fine. You've done it once, you can do it again, but you don't want to do that. You want to live the lesson. You don't want to have to live the lesson to learn it, right? So you don't have to live the lesson to learn it. I'm Nate, and I'm a life coach. If you're interested in life coaching, be sure to check me out and hit me up in the DM. Let's talk about it. And also, you can just click the link in below and sign up, and we'll just get you running. We'll get you off and running, right? So that's 20% off for Cyber Monday. Instrasale.com. Pick up a cool inspirational t-shirt. That's also 20% off on Cyber Monday. Check out my wife's book, Dylan and Davina, The Adventure Begins, on Amazon. And we'll see you in the next piece. Oh, and like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video with somebody that needs it. Really appreciate your support. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.